Hello, everyone. This is Gary Allen in Las Vegas. We are waiting for Kayla and Chip to join our webinar. We will be starting very, very shortly. That looks like Mr. Chip Barkell. How you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing great. How's everything up? And there's Kayla. Hey, Kayla, how are you?
She's muted.
Yep. So everyone, my name is Gary Allen. I'm a realtor in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we have on our webinar today, Kayla Lieblich, who is a realtor in Fort Collins. Hey, Kayla.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself.
That's all right. In Fort Collins, and Chip Barkell, who is a realtor in Canada. And I've got to say, Chip, I don't know, what city are you in?
I'm in Toronto.
Toronto. How's the market up there?
It's pretty hot. It's cooled a little bit, but it's quite a competitive market, and good prices too.
Well, fantastic. So I appreciate everyone joining us. Right now we've got 12 participants, and I'm sure there'll be a few more popping on. So let's go ahead and get started. Guys, I've been a realtor for 4 years, and about a year being a realtor, I went to an event and I saw someone up on stage by the name of Jordan Adler. And Jordan is very well known. I knew who Jordan was. I knew that he represented a company called Send Out Cards, but I'd never really checked it out until that night. And when I went home that night and looked on the website, I was totally amazed by what I saw, and I knew that I could use this in my business. And so 3 years ago, I started using this very simple, low-cost, and highly effective tool called Send Out Cards. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today on our webinar, is how the three of us have used this system to put more commissions in our pocket. And also a few of us, well, all three of us are distributors. So we share this with other realtors. That may be of interest to you. It may not. It's totally fine. But I'm going to go ahead and start off and talk a little bit about how I've used it briefly, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kayla. So what I did is in my first year, I put a lot of people into rental homes, and one of the families that I put into a rental home, we became Facebook friends. And I saw a post that Newly and his wife posted, and it was them showing their wedding pictures because they were celebrating their 1-year anniversary. So I took that picture off of Facebook. I put it on a beautiful card that has a couple of champagne glasses with a sunset behind it, and it just says happy anniversary. So it wasn't about me promoting myself as a realtor. It was about loving on my network and lifting them up and appreciating them. So Newly calls me about a week later and he goes, dude, my wife totally loves you for sending that card. And I sent him a 4-pack of brownies because he's got a couple small boys. And he said the kids love the brownies. So we chatted for a few minutes. The last thing he said is, my dad's moving back to Vegas. And even though he's purchased 3 homes from the same realtor, I want him to meet you. So I met with Myron and we closed a $750,000 cash transaction, and it all came about from this little card and gift. It was a $15 card and gift, and it brought me in over $20,000 commission dollars. So that is just one of the examples. Another example is I had a listing and I created a 3-panel card, and I put the outside of the home on the inside of the 3 panels, and on the edges I put in some pictures of the interior, the pool and the kitchen and things like that. And I sent that out to 100 neighbors. I got a list of 100 neighbors from my title rep. I uploaded that as a group. I created one card, I hit the send button, and it went out personalized to everyone in that neighborhood. So about, 6-7 days later, I got a call from someone saying, I'm moving into Vegas, and I'm an engineer at the power station, and my coworker handed me this card. I'd like to take a look at this home. Well, great. So I showed him this home. Now, this one wasn't a fit for him, but I did put him into a brand new Toll Brothers home. And this $200 campaign, this is a $2 card, including the stamps. So I sent it out to 100 people. So it was a $200 campaign, brought me in a $19,000 commission. And I have shared this with realtors across the country, like Kayla and Brian Perez and on and on and on. Rita here in town, and it's just so many of them that have used this system to make more money in real estate, and that's what the name of the game is. So this is a very simple system that I can create and send a card from my phone app, or I can use my computer, and lo and behold, it works. I, as well as many of you, have put money into websites and pay-per-click programs and Facebook ads, and I have never found anything that is as inexpensive yet super powerful like send out cards. So first of all, I'm going to introduce Kayla. Kayla is a KW agent in Fort Collins, Colorado. She started using this system 3-4 months ago and just had massive success. So Kayla, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, and I'll let you take it away.
Hi, everyone. So I actually started using send out cards effectively on November 1st of 2017. So not very long ago. That's really not that far in the past. And the intention that we had with it was to use it for lead generation. So when I started my career up in Fort Collins, I knew a lot of people, but most of the people that I knew were actually realtors. So it was incredibly ridiculous trying to lead gen when every single person that you know is in the business. So there's no way to do that. So what I started focusing on was FSBOs and expireds. I tried following the KW model and door knocking and cold calling, and that works and it's gotten me business, but I wanted some way to make all of these calls and door knocks not as cold as they were. And so what I ended up doing was, it took me about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years to get on board with this. I really love sending cards. And so I've been writing them by hand for forever. And I finally jumped on the Lab Code Agents and said, hey, who knows something about send out cards? Got connected with Gary. And he started teaching me how to use send out cards for both my sphere, which at this point is just past clients and potential clients. And then also I started using it for lead gen. And so what that has looked like, let me just go through. So one of the first things that I got from when I started using it was actually I had seen, like, Gary sent out the wedding card. I did one of those as well. I did a $25 gift card, said, here's dinner. I hope you guys enjoy an evening on me. It's not much, but it was something, and it was something meaningful to them. And that particular client, I had just helped her close on her house earlier that year. She sent me a thank you card back for my congratulations card. And it basically reads, thank you so much for the $25 gift card. My little sister is looking to buy here soon, and I've already given her your business card. Heart, Clarissa, and Jake. And what's awesome about that is that's a $300,000 buyer. So in our area, that's a fast-moving, fast-paced market, but that's $300,000 that I got from, or $9,000 that I got from sending a $1.66 card and a gift card, sending them out to dinner because I appreciate them. That's nothing. So heck yeah, all day long. And then in terms of using this for, I guess I'll do a screen share real quick to show you guys what I've used this for my cards. So personalized cards, let's find these guys. I don't know if this is working. There we go. There we go. So I sent a pair of my clients. They're still current clients right now because, oh, that wasn't what I meant. Okay, this one. And I sent them, it was their 46th wedding anniversary. And so I, went in and I stalked her on Facebook because we're friends anyways. And I pulled up, just some really cute photos. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Last time it didn't. Some cute photos from their relationship, going all the way back to prom. And then also, I pulled up a little Shakespeare quote that was pretty cute. And, something from their wedding. And it's been 46 years of this relationship. And so my goal was to send them that and send them, I sent them chocolate covered pretzels. And so it's like maybe $20 all in, I think. I don't know how much the chocolate covered pretzels are. But Linda, the wife, called me crying. And she was just so grateful because I did more than even her kids did. Which, sometimes we just don't celebrate our parents enough when they hit milestones like that. But I did more than her kids did. And they listed their townhouse with me the very next day, or later that week. So that was another $300,000 townhouse that is going to close here in March. So that's, $18,000 that I've gotten so far out of less than $50 of spending. I will take that all day long, any day of the week.
Yeah.
The other thing, let's see, the other things I've been using it for, if my internet would work, you know, sending cute photos, birthdays and whatnot. So let's go to the Petersons. Nope, that's not them. Peterson, there we go, view card. That's Christmas card. Well, you guys get to see a cute picture anyways. So this is also great for sending out your holiday cards, which I sent out on Christmas Day because I'm a slacker. What you can see here is, if you see this, this is my actual handwriting font, so it's a lot more personal than most people will would expect. And then, oh yeah, there we go. There's all the cute pictures. Sorry, I knew they were in there somewhere. And so, I have a few people who called me off of these because it took me all of 2 minutes to send them, and saying, oh, those were the best pictures. They were so cute. We absolutely love it. Thank you so much. We're always thinking about you. This is to the same people, so you can see I love my dogs. Well, this is their dogs. This is a birthday card that I put together for them. So, you know, they posted this picture on Facebook. I thought it was adorable, all tongues out. And, you know, I just put a cute little quote. I Google all my quotes because I'm not very, you know, creative in that facet, so it's pretty easy to do. May your next year be filled with wet noses, sloppy kisses, and wagging tails. They love their dogs. I did that. They have this hanging in their house. It's not something they're going to throw away. And so I guess I'll come back. Well, I'll show you my lead generation source real quick. And I have this group on Facebook called the Real Estate Resource. So if you want to join, just I'll post the link here in the chat soon. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A or post them in the chat. Just if you're doing it in the chat, make sure it says to all people, because otherwise some people won't be able to see it. But if you go into here and you go to photos and then you go to albums, you'll be able to see exactly how I'm using it to prospect for expireds. And then I'll touch on my success and then we'll pass it over to Chip because that's awesome. So this is exactly my system. You could literally copy this and do exactly the same thing. So what we do is we put their house on the front of the card with a little for sale sold thing. And then on the interior, so it's labeled up here so you can see exactly what you're looking at and mix and match them. You know, just really simple, like, hey, I was just curious how in the heck your home didn't sell. Please call me. I have a strategy to get your home in front of new people and get it sold for top dollar. Really simple text. And then, of course, all my information. And this was before I got my my handwriting font, so some of these have them, some of them don't. And then what's nice is the branding on the back. This is what's just remarkable. I love it because you can change this up. And so I've got, you know, my core solutions, my company name, the Keller Williams. I'm compliant in every sense of the matter, and they're still getting my face and my name in front of them in something that they're going to open because it's got their house on the front. They're going to be like, what's happening? We got to open this and look at it. The second card that I send out is this one, you know, just stressed out, struggling with paperwork, even though he's a kid. And then I have a solution for you. This second card has led to several people calling me, and I'll point that out. People are calling me. That's the catch here is I'm sending these out and people are calling me and asking me for appointments. It's literally the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. So again, you know, just pointing out, you know, hey, I'm a realtor in Northern Colorado. I would love to show you my system. I touch on my Brave Homes program a little bit. And then, you know, the next card that they get 3 or 4 days later when life hands you lemons, I like to host open houses. So I'm going to touch on that because that's a big part of my marketing campaign. I typically meet at least one buyer and one seller at every open house that I hold. So I like to make sure they know I'm going to be doing that. You know, a little bit more about how you need an agent who's focused on you and what you need. This focus is what has made me one of the top 10 agents. Basically, you guys can go in and check these out and put this together on your own and literally just copy it. I don't care if you rip me off entirely, just don't put my name on there, you know, put yours on there so they're calling you. I actually had an agent who messaged me and went, I accidentally sent them out with your name. So if someone from Maryland calls you, know where to send them. And I was like, oh gosh, that's pretty fun. So yeah, so that's my expired system. My FSBO system is in here as well, under the photos and then the albums. If you go into the photos, you can also see a lot of ways that other people are, you know, touching their sphere and sending out things that are just awesome.
Now, Kayla, this is a campaign that you set up, right? So once you put someone into this 4-card campaign, you can pretty much forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go into videos, we walk you through how to set up the campaign. And so my assistant basically recorded herself processing a day's worth of expired, so you can see how to do everything all at the same time and make it really efficient. But yeah, it's a campaign. When you put their name in, you start the campaign and it's done. The only thing that I would pair with this is cold calling. So I'll start calling them while my assistant is doing the processing them through the send out cards. And by the time that we talk to them, usually they've received a card from me. And if it's $1 million listing, I also send brownies with them. They come in a box. So I think you saw them in the thing, but it's an actual box. It's something they have to open to get your card. And when you send baked goods, people just can't say no to you. So if you want that $1 million listing, send them something fancy and delicious. It works, I promise. I actually landed an appointment with a guy who basically said, oh, well, you're the one that sent me the brownies. What time would you like to come over? Has the $1 million listing ever said that to you when you don't know them? Probably not. They've never said that to me either until then. But these videos are essentially my assistant showing you how to set up the campaign so that once you set it, you can forget it. They'll get the 4 cards. It'll go out over the next month. We do cancel them occasionally if people call us and tell us they've relisted, or we find out somehow that they have, just to save some money because it goes right back into your account. So then you get to use it for the next day. What else was I going to say, Gary? I had something.
Talk to us a little bit about the results that you've had.
That's the one. Thank you. I don't know why I forgot that. I'm like brain dead today. So I'll come back off of my sharing. So this is a list of clients who have called me, who I have set appointments with. And it's a little rough, and I haven't updated it in about 30 days. So you can kind of see that we've been a little bit busy. But this is literally, if you total this up, and this doesn't count the client who sent us the buyer, her sister, for some reason, because I forgot to put her on there. This is almost $6 million. This is $5.4 million in appointments set. Like,
wow.
Look at that, 5.4, and that doesn't count this guy, so that's $5.7 million in listings, in appointments set with listings and 1 buyer. Out of all of that, 1 buyer and like 8 listings. We have converted a few of those into listings. We're still waiting to hear back on a few of them. A few of them were a little more complicated than I'd like to take on. But yeah, $6 million. So right now what I'm looking at is I have a MAPS coach, so KW MAPS coach, and we calculated out our ROI, that's a fun one, for the first 2 months that I did it. So November and December. Now keep in mind, we started sending the cards literally November 1st. So that first week is kind of a wash. And what we found out is that we had landed, I think it was $60,000 in commissions from send out cards. That also does not count at this point the 2 referrals that I've received from people who have signed on with me and are starting to send me clients when they have someone coming to Colorado. So that was just $60,000 in commissions that we've signed from the cards themselves. And we had spent about $2,000. So what we were looking at, 1 second, dogs. What we were looking at was a $15 ROI in total. So I guess I have my numbers wrong. It was $30,000 in commission. Right now it's closer to 60. So we were looking at a $15 ROI. Sorry, guys. Hey, knock it off. And yeah, sorry.
Happens once a week.
I know. It's because everyone gets home at this time. They've been super sassy today. But Hayden, I'm gonna block you upstairs. But yeah, so my ROI is $15 for every dollar spent. That's what's coming back to me. And what's been super fun is And sorry, what's been super fun is everything else that's coming in. So send out cards because Gary and I started sharing. Oh my gosh. Chip, do you want to go and I'll mute myself for a few minutes? I give up on these guys. Oh, they're outside now. Okay, looks like we're good. So yeah, basically send out cards started paying for itself because we started using it as a business. And bringing people on and sharing this system, you know, I'm sharing this exact system that I'm using to be successful. Sharing that is bringing people in to send out cards, and what that's doing is it's paying for send out cards essentially. So my goal by June is to have send out cards paying to cover my lead generation so that basically everything is free. That's my goal with send out cards, because the lead generation itself is, you know, a little bit expensive, but when you're thinking about it, $8 for a lead that's seen you 4 times and you're calling them and talking to them and they've gotten, you know, they're actually talking about you, that's amazing. You know, I know people who pay $8 for a Facebook lead and they hope to God they can talk to them once. Mm-hmm. Here, you know, they're calling me. So it's been absolutely remarkable. I can't wait for the first year to go by so that I can see how much came in, but we're probably looking at, you know, $120,000 to $140,000 in commissions from our first year using send out cards. And that's,
you've told me that you've never been busier. Is that correct?
Yeah, no. So here's a fun fact. Last year I did 15 deals, and that's total 15 deals. I hired an assistant. We took a downturn because I was focused on training. Whatever, it is what it is. 15 deals. Right now I have 16 signed clients. As of December, I did not have anywhere near that. So all of these people are, you know, 16, 8 of them are listings. Well, 9 of them are listings, 2 of them are pending, and 5 of them are buyers. And I have 3 appointments this week from send out cards.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's another 500, 800. That's another like $2 million in appointments that we've got set that's coming up. And that's just this week. So really the sky's the limit. If we keep pushing ourselves and keep working at it every day, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do a couple $100,000 in gross commission just off of the send out cards.
I love hearing that, Kayla. And you've said that your average listing has almost doubled in price.
Yeah, so all of the people who are calling me are higher end clients. They're people that are easier to work with. They have nicer homes. They're easier to sell. They take a little bit longer to sell, but you know, they know how to fix up their homes. They know how to show them. My average price point last year was $350,000. And right now my average price point with my listings is over $600. So I've nearly doubled my price point because the people reaching back out to me are quality people with quality listings. You know, they might have been a little overpriced to begin with, but guess who has the easy conversation when you tell them that they're overpriced? The second realtor, the third realtor. We get to say, hey guys, it's a little overpriced. And they go, yeah, we heard that from our last realtor, but we didn't listen. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Now they're listening and they're pricing it to sell. And it's easy. It's easy money right here.
That's phenomenal, Kayla. It's so fun to hear success stories and to see that that when you do something, you start to get tangible results from it. Mm-hmm. It's just powerful. It's happened for me. It's happened for so many people that I've shared this with. And I know that you came on as a distributor, and you alluded to this briefly, but what you've done by sharing this with other realtors and other business owners is that you've created a second income that is almost paid for all of your marketing for using send out cards. So guys, how many times have you had a system that brings you in listings and buyers and pays for itself by sharing this? Now, you don't have to share this. You don't have to be a distributor. And I'm going to go at the end of the webinar, I'm going to go over different options and just give you the full view of what your options are. You can use this as a client. You can use it as a client/distributor. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, this is so easy to share. We're realtors and we're around realtors all the time. And if you just share this, and we'll give you simple ways to share this, you can create a second income stream that at a very minimum can pay for your marketing. And if you really focus on it consistently, spending 15 minutes a day, share this with one realtor a day, it can really turn into something quite dramatic and very powerful. So I tease people and I say, right now, my send out cards residual income pays the taxes on my real estate. But as this continues to build out and take on a life of its own, 5 years from now, my real estate commissions are going to pay the taxes on my send out cards. It's that powerful. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And so thank you so much, Kayla, for sharing your experience with us.
One last thing I'll just add on is, you get to build this network with realtors who are in and out of your area, and you get to show them a really cool tool. And if you really help them be successful, which is, our goal here, so you can just send them to the webinar, you're creating so much value that they're going to send their referrals to you. So that's another source of business that I did not even anticipate when I came into this is, when you share value and you're giving freely, that when you come from contribution, that old law right there, when you come from contribution, it comes back to you. And so that, there are so many ways to make money off of this and to help people and to make people feel good. That that's the goal, is make people feel good, because it's all coming back. And I cannot even imagine how far this is going to take me, and especially because it's only been a few months. So
that's crazy. We are in a people business. We are in the building relationship business. And when it just makes sense that if you have something that's fast and low cost and easy to use, that makes better connections. People put their lives on Facebook. So just last week, one of my past clients had a newborn baby boy, cute little baby boy. So I took that picture off of Facebook. I put it on a card. I added a plush baby toy. It's Jingles the Blue Giraffe. And they just got it today, and they're just raving about, that I would do that for them. And it's just making better connections. And the more people like you and trust you, we've all heard this, the more people like you and trust you, the more they're going to do business with you and the more they're going to refer business to you. So this beautiful system takes you from kind of out there in the ether, and as you consistently send cards, you go to top of mind, and as you continue to do it, you go to top of heart. And that's where the referral machine is at, is when people love you, they go to work for you, and they start, when someone mentions real estate, it's like, you need to meet Kayla, you need to meet Chip. They are the nicest people. And it just works, guys. So beautiful. Chip, go ahead if you would. And now Chip has just been crushing it with send out cards, building a business, but also using it for his real estate business. And I'm excited to hear, Chip, what you have done with this since you started using send out cards.
Okay, thank you, Gary and Kayla. I started using it almost 2 years ago. I found send out cards. I was a skeptic. Jordan Adler sometimes talked about skeptical people are the best people to get in, but I found it actually 3 years ago, and I was kind of not sure. I stumbled into it by accident, and I thought, anything that sounds too good to be true usually is, and I just kind of watched it for a while. But then I heard so many stories, not just realtors, but all kinds of people that use it, including Dave Potter out on the West Coast. He did a video where he's pumping gas in his truck saying, I started sending cards a year ago, and I'm like, this guy sends cards? Those of you who don't know Gary, Dave, he kind of reminds me of Paul Bunyan. He's real tall, he's got a beard, and he cuts down trees for a living. And then he shows you in the video, he's in the top of a tree, and he takes a picture of the client's house and talks into the phone and clicks and sends brownies. And I thought, if this guy can send them from the top of a tree, any of us can do it. There's just no getting around that. So like I said, I held off for a while, and a lot of realtors are guilty of this, myself included, saying by the middle of the year that, well, next year I'll add it to my marketing rather than start immediately. You're sowing seeds. You can't expect them to grow overnight. So I should have started day one. So that was my biggest regret. But it was early in the year, 2 years ago, that I signed up. And it was actually quite by accident even then. I was at a gym in the lobby waiting for somebody, and I had postcards, and I was sticking sold stickers. And this trainer was there, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm a realtor. I'm doing these sold stickers because the house sold. And then I thought of send-out cards, even though I hadn't signed up yet. I started telling him about it. He was a millennial. And we went on to something else, and he said, go back and tell me more about that card thing. And so I went home, I thought, I'm going to sign up before he does, because he was really gung-ho about it. So I signed up and signed him up and mentioned it to a few people at work. Initially, I wasn't going to be a distributor. I thought, oh, I'm a realtor, I can't be bothered. But I thought, well, it's $50. You know, chances are somebody at some point is going to ask me, how can I do that? You know, and I thought, you know, if I don't become a distributor, the money's just going to go out. And if I do become a distributor, I can at least earn my money back. You know, I thought, well, that's a win-win, right? So I mentioned to 3 agents in my brokerage, and they all said, sign me up. And they all got marketing bundles, so 140 times 3. I now had my investment back, and I thought, wow, this is pretty easy. And then I'll just share my screen. I was driving down the street. I assume everyone can see that. Driving down the street in my farm area, and there's a woman, an elderly woman, that was a gardener, and she'd be out in her garden 5-6 hours a day in the summer. And it was late March. I'm in Toronto, it's still cold then, but I thought, you know, I didn't know what a prompting was yet, but I had a prompting, and I'm going to send her a happy spring card. Anybody who likes the garden as much as she does is probably chomping at the bit to get into the garden. We had some conversations about gardening, and she loves squash, in fact, Hubbard squash. I had never heard of Hubbard squash, but she was, you know, crazy about Hubbard squash. In fact, one of the times after I met her, I went to the farmer's market and I saw one. I thought, oh, that's what Hubbard squash looks like. So I bought one, dropped off at her house with my business card, and I said, I saw this and thought of you. So she became my squash lady. So when I did the card, I'll put a squash plant on the front. I want to make it about her. And on the inside, I found a picture of a Hubbard squash. And I put that on the inside because I knew that would get her attention. Just said, thank you for introducing me to Hubbard squash and celebration, happy spring. And I even found a little children's ditty on the internet about the Hubbard squash, if you can believe it. Of course, my branding was on the back. This was literally my first week or so of using send-out cards. She called me, thanking me profusely for sending the card. And I said, oh, I'm glad you like it. And she said, no, I love it. It's wonderful. And then, by the way, a realtor knocked on my door and they want to buy my house for $1.9 million for a builder to knock it down and build a new house. And I said, well, it's not a bad price. Is it the best price? The only way we'll know is if we market your home appropriately and get as many people to the table. In Toronto, especially then, we hold back on offers. So let's say we sign a listing today, we will load it, you know, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, and we will show it for about 7 to 10 days, but not accept offers. And then have people come on whatever the offer date is, and hopefully get as many as possible. So I said, you know, you don't want to sell it to the first person that comes along, even though 1.9 million is an attractive number. So she said, well, we've never sold a house. We've been here 60 years, 60. And we don't really know what's involved in selling. So would you come over and talk to my husband and me about, you know, what's involved? Absolutely. So I went over to her house and met with her and her husband and went through the process. And I did a card, something like this. On the inside, I just said, thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain my business and the sort of value that I can bring to your selling process. When the time is right, when you're ready, I'd be honored to represent you. And I probably sent this with brownies. So first card was March. This was early May. Again, got another call back from her thanking me and saying, that is such a wonderful picture of our house. Could I get some copies of that? Absolutely. So I dropped off some 5x7s. And then they mentioned that they had been in the house 60 years. So I looked up the date, it was July. And so I did this card, it's a 3-panel card, as a happy anniversary card. 60 years, like 6 decades is a long time to be in one place. And so what I said, of course, I stopped in, say, mid-June when her gardens were really nice, because I knew she's all about her gardens. Took some pictures with my my iPhone. And I span the whole inside of the card with her yard and gardens. And I just said, Audrey and Earl, just wanted to say congratulations on 60 years in your home at 210 Dunview. Wow, what changes you've seen in 6 decades. Enjoy all of your memories. I wanted to kind of introduce the idea that if they sold, they'd take their memories with them. And then I had taken some pictures of them and their gardens. I took a picture of her and I said to him, well, I have a picture of Audrey. You have to let me take your picture. Of course, they had no idea what I was going to use these for. And then on the back is their back garden. So this is the card that sealed the deal. She told me, because she'd say, oh, they're still knocking on my door. You know what they offered me now? I know. So she said, now when they knock on my door, I tell them, when the time is right, I have a realtor. And she actually took this card to a family get-together and was showing her children and grandchildren. Look what my realtor sent. About 6 weeks later, we listed the house, and we sold it for $2.25 million.
Wow.
So she was initially offered 1.9, sold it for 2.25, so it's an extra 350,000 that she got. And the best part is, it was the same realtor that offered the 1.9 million that brought the 2.25 buyer. So, and all of that was maybe $50 in brownies and cookies and cards, and you know, and sort of a friend for life. So that transaction, I like to say, you know, this is sometimes when I present, I say, what do you think a good ROI would be? And people say 50%, 100%, 1,000%. This is 26,000%. If I didn't send that first card, which was $1.17. I would not have gotten that $40,000 commission. And to put it in other terms that send out cards people can understand, this will pay for my points for the next 84 years. After that, I'm on my own.
Wow, that's phenomenal, Chip.
You know, that's just one example. Another one is an expired listing. This was actually a referral. And she called and said, our house has been on the market for 5 months. Can you come out and have a look? We'd like to meet you. And said, absolutely. So because it was a 27-acre property, she took us for a ride on the ATV. And I had her husband take a picture with my phone, put thanks for a fun visit. And then on the inside, this is another 3-panel card. On the inside, take a minute to load, there was a beautiful pond behind the house. So I spanned the whole inside of the card with this pond. Again, picture of her husband and the house and the kitchen. It was a beautiful home. It was custom built 2 years before. And it was gorgeous. In fact, I went home saying, do you want to move? I found a great house. And there again, just said, thank you for showing us your beautiful home and property. It really is a world unto itself. They had told us the reason they bought the property was the privacy. I also asked her, who was your designer? She looked at me kind of funny and she said, well, we didn't use a designer. We just bought the stuff and did it ourselves. I said, well, you did a magnificent job. So I said, your design and decor will shine through in the video and photos. I was assuming we were going to get the listing. It was a real treat for both of us. And on the back, I had commented on a wallpaper she had. I said, it's almost like a William Morris design. And she said, that's exactly what it is. I can't believe you knew that. So obviously, I didn't have a picture of her wallpaper, but I went online, Googled William Morris, found a print that was similar, and I knew she would make the connection. So about a month later, she called and said, would you come out and have a chat with us about the property? I said, absolutely. And so at that visit, it was about a month later, as you can see, the pond is changing colors. She said, you know, we decided it's mid-October now. We've been on the market since April, didn't sell. Why don't we just wait till spring? And I said, well, you can, but if we have a mild fall, we have about 6 weeks and we could get this thing sold. Doesn't sell by mid-December, you know, Christmas. We'll take it off the market till March or April, and you know, you haven't lost anything. So she and her husband said, okay, absolutely, why don't we do that? So I sent this card as a thank you for the listing, and because it was expired, I didn't want to overpromise, so I just said we're both very excited about the possibilities of helping you find just the right buyer. To truly appreciate your property. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to join you in the journey. So it's all about them. I didn't want to overpromise. And then when we were there for the open house, she went for a walk and came back with these leaves. And I knew her birthday was the next month, so I thought, I'm going to use them on her card for her birthday. Now, people often say, what do you say in your cards? Well, sometimes I just say happy birthday. But, you know, anybody else looking at these would just see a bunch of leaves, but she knows they're her leaves. So I made this card for her birthday, and on the inside, because I was there for the open house, I had taken a picture of that wallpaper from the previous card. So I put that on the inside of the card. Again, very personal. What did I say? Wishing a happy birthday, all the best in the year to come. Not exactly original. And in fact, we sold the house first week of December, I think it was. So within that 6-week window. And when I went mid-December for the buyer visit, all 3 of those cards were still on display on her television. And that was a $2.35 million sale.
Wow.
So, you know, it works. It's, you know, and recently I've had other situations where there was a builder, custom builder, that I used to see in this lunch restaurant that I would go to. I probably saw him 3 or 4 months ago, and I was with a client, and he, you know, is he coming in or leaving? He just said, hey, Chip. And anyway, I sent a New Year's card. I don't send Christmas cards. Send a New Year's card to about 200 people or so. And then on the inside, I just said Happy New Year with a little bit of a verse that, you know, it's like 2018 is a new year standing before us like a blank chapter waiting to be written, you know. So hope it's full of adventures. What's on your bucket list? What are you going to cross out this year? So mid-January, I get a call from this guy saying, hey, as soon as I heard him, I said, oh, Happy New Year. And he said, yeah, thank you for your card. I'm looking for my next project. Can you help me find a piece of land? Could be for 1 house, 2 houses, 6, 8, I don't really care, townhouses. So we're going out on Thursday to look at properties.
My goodness.
So, you know, if I hadn't sent the card, I doubt he would have called.
Yeah.
We're not friends, you know, we're just acquaintances.
That's incredible. Have you tracked, now you've said you've been with Send Out Cards for how long? 2 years, 3 years?
It'll be 2 years in March.
So have you tracked can you track or do you know the amount of commissions you've made by using Send Out Cards in your real estate business?
Not commissions, I haven't, but it's pretty much 100% of my business.
Is that right? So you just use, this is your marketing tool that you use.
I do other things, but this is the one that works.
Uh-huh.
I do Facebook ads once in a while. I do newsletters. I do postcards. I've done a couple pop buys under them every month. But this is the one that builds the relationships. And, you know, I'm not too big on ROI because how do you figure ROI on a relationship? You know, I met somebody 3 years ago. They've gotten 36 newsletters. They've gotten Christmas cards, New Year's cards, birthday cards, brownies, postcards. When I show up at that $2.50 pumpkin in October, this happened to me this year. This 90-year-old woman who, well, she's going to be 90 in the spring. She said, oh, come in, come in. I think in the spring I'm ready to sell. Now, was it that pumpkin? No, of course not. It was everything. So I don't worry too much about it, but pretty much all of my business is, you know, from Send Out Cards.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. Well, Chip, I really appreciate you sharing. And by the way, your cards are really gorgeous. I mean, they just look fantastic. That one with the pond and on the 3-panel card. I mean, that's just a gorgeous card. And I've had the same experience. I'll send a card to someone and go visit them months later, and it's on their refrigerator or it's on their desk at their office. I've never seen something so, for lack of a better way to say it, so sticky. Yeah. It stays with people, and and who you are stays with people, and it's just been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
That's great. All right. Well, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and, Chip, if you will take down your screen share. And what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk a little bit about the options that you have to use Send Out Cards. So bear with me here while I finagle this. Okay, so there's really three different parts to send out cards. And the first part is the monthly subscription. So it's $39 a month, and that's going to give you 100 points per month. So what does a point do? Well, this card here is a 3-point card. So for $39 a month, I could send 33 of these a month, basically one a day. This card here is a 4-point card, so I could send 25 of these. So for $39 a month, there's no contract. You can cancel at any time. And the nice thing is, if you don't use all of your 100 points, they roll over for 18 months. So if you only used 50 points this month, then next month you have 150 points that you can use. And a lot of times people will use them during the holidays. But I feel as a realtor, honestly, it's easy to send out 2 or 3 cards a day and just love on your sphere and do it in a way that is not so much promoting yourself, but just sending out love and appreciation to the world. You know, the law of reciprocity says that if you do nice things for people, they tend to do nice things back. And so that's just being consistent and sending out love and appreciation to your network. And your branding's on the back, so they know that you're a realtor. If they don't know because of you've spoken to them, they're going to see that. And it's just those simple touches, consistent, simple touches of loving and appreciating your network. And you'd be amazed, your network will go to work for you. So anyway, I digress. $39 a month gives you 100 points per month. There's no contract. And if you don't use all the points, they do roll over for 18 months. So that's the first part. The second part are bundles. Now, as a realtor, I'm going to recommend that you take the marketing bundle. It's a one-time charge of $395. So what does that give you? Well, first of all, it gives you the custom brand manager. That's the ability to own the back of the card, what you can brand. There's different ways that you can do it. You can have a half picture. You can have side-by-side pictures. You can have the entire back covered, and you have unlimited brands. So you can have one for your business. You can have one for your family. If you're part of a civic organization like BNI or Elks Club or whatever, you can brand that. So that's completely up to you how you brand that card. So that's the custom brand manager. The marketing bundle also gives you the SOC memory vault, which is basically more storage than the basic storage. So the memory vault, I think it's 2,500 contacts. By the way, you can take your contacts that are in another system and create a CSV file and upload those into send out cards. And you can do that. We have tutorials that show you how to do all that. If you go to your company, and then you can see some tutorials here. So ultimately, the memory vault gives you 2,500 contacts, the ability to save, I think it's 100 different campaigns. So let's talk real briefly about a campaign. This was one card that I sent to 100 people. That's a campaign, one card going to many people. Or you can create a campaign that's many cards going to one person. So you drip on them. They get a nice to meet you card or a birthday card, anniversary card, a holiday card, a Valentine's Day card. And once you put someone into the campaign, you can forget about it. Those are going to go out on the schedule that you've set up. So that's what campaigns do. So 2,500 contacts, 100 saved campaigns. Any card that you send over and over and over again probably ought to be in a campaign because you can send it out in 15 seconds. It's really super fast. And then you can save your saved photos and saved cards as well. Now the marketing bundle is also going to give you 200 bonus points. But the only caveat on these is that these points last for 60 days. They don't roll over for 18 months like they do in the subscription. And these are really meant to be used. Just get out the word and send cards and gifts to people and get used to using the system. It's fairly simple. It also, the marketing bundle is going to give you the handwriting font and the custom signature font. So this is a form that you print out and you write out your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, your different punctuation. And down at the bottom of that paper are 4 boxes that you can sign the card different ways. So you might have your first name, you might have your legal name, it might be printed, it might be in cursive, however you set that up. And when you're using your phone or your laptop, you just click the signature icon, choose what signature you want to sign the card with, and boom, that lands on the card. So that's a great thing that's personalized. Sometimes I talk to realtors and they say, oh, I send out handwritten cards. They're so personalized. And I get it. But here's the thing. A picture from someone's Facebook feed of their 8-year-old child swinging and hitting his first home run is so much more personal than your handwriting. And we can do the handwriting with send out cards. And it's just a very personalized system. Okay.
If you don't mind, Gary, I'm just going to jump in there for a second.
Please.
I was with Brian Buffini, and I'm a big supporter of Brian Buffini's programs and the handwritten notes. The problem was I never did the handwritten notes. I sent out 5 this month, a few next month. And then I thought, well, I don't need to buy his handwritten notes. I can have my own printed up with my logo on the front and my information on the back. So I got the branding on the back thing, but they were about me, they weren't about them. And even though, and I had, they look very nice, but I now think of them as ego cards. They're about me, but I didn't send those either. I sent, some of them. I had 200 printed a few years ago, and I still have some left. So obviously I didn't send that many. And I never once got a call from either one of those, from those note cards, people saying thank you. Whereas now I get calls, people in tears saying, this is so lovely, thank you, wow, so that speaks for itself.
It's powerful.
I just think it takes send note cards with the photos that you can put on them, just brings it up to a higher level.
It certainly does.
So, that's my take on that.
That's a great point, Chip. So the handwriting and custom signatures is great, but the pictures do more than anything. And people put their lives on Facebook, their vacation pictures, their new car, their puppy, their dog passed away, their baby, birthday celebrations, whatever it is. It's just phenomenal, the ammunition that people put on Facebook for us to use. And most of the time, you don't even have to be friends with them. I mean, every now and then, a person will limit their access to their page if you're not a friend with them, but it's probably less than 5%. So I go and just put the name in the search and pull up their page and pull pictures and put it on cards and send it out. It's just incredible. All right, so the MRM training portal is another feature of the marketing bundle. That MRM stands for Master Relationship Marketing. This, in my mind, is worth the $395 in and of itself, because it allows you to access about 10 hours of online training on how to use send out cards to build your real estate business or another type of business that you might have. This system is used with businesses of all types. It's not just for realtors, it's for loan officers, insurance agents, car dealerships, restaurants, on and on and on. So the MRM training portal shows you how to use this system to grow your business. And then it also gives you a couple of pre-made campaigns. They're about 90% pre-made. You might want to go in and tweak it a little bit with some different words and maybe your picture on the back, however you want to set that up. But the First Impressions Kit is a little bit of an upgraded card. It's a little bit thicker cardstock. Now, it is for the 2-panel card instead of 3 points. It is a 5-point card. But it's a little bit upscale, a little bit thicker cardstock. And it has a satin white or a satin black finish on it. And we also have the Startup Campaign Value Pack. That is another campaign that is set up for you. So just so you know, you can start off with a personal bundle. It gives you the custom brand manager. That's the ability to control the back of the card. It has the signature package. It has 100 points and basic storage. And if you did do this personal bundle, you can always upgrade to the marketing bundle, and you just pay the $200 difference, and then they'll give you the added features. The business bundle is really, if you're like a real estate team, this is great. It gives you everything that the marketing bundle does, but it gives you multi-user accounts. So as a team leader, I can give my buyer's agent a separate sub-account and put 50 points on there, or my inside sales agent or customer service person. So it really gives you everything that the marketing bundle does, but it gives you a couple multi-user accounts as well. So remember I said there's 3 parts to send out cards. The first part is the subscription. The second part is a bundle. You can use 1, you can use 2, you can use all 3. And the third part is being a distributor. For $50 a year, you can send out cards into another profit center that at the very minimum will pay for your distributing, for your marketing. But if you are consistent with this and show this to other realtors, number one, they're going to thank you because you're giving them a very powerful tool that they can make more money. But it's also a way to, it's not so much who you know, but who do they know? And if you sign up, you're going to sign up clients, you're going to sign up distributors, and then they're going to sign up people, and you get paid on all the points that go through your organization. You get a percentage of that. And I bought a brand new car here about 3 weeks ago, and it's paid for by my monthly commissions that I get from all the volume that goes through my system. And so in essence, I got a free car. So you don't have to be a distributor. Some of you will be interested in that. Some of you won't. It's totally fine. We totally need to have clients as well as distributors. But this is so simple. When I go into the office, I'll just pull up my app and I'll talk with a realtor and I'll say, hey, can I show you something cool? And they always say yes. I say, I can create and send you a physical greeting card that goes to the Postal Service and lands in your mailbox. Can I show you how? And they always say yes. So then I take a selfie of us. I put it on a card. I add a couple packs, a couple brownies. And I say, hey, can I follow up with you a week from now? Because I can track when they get the card and brownies. And they say yes. And then I reach out to them and we go grab a coffee at Starbucks. And, you know, if I show this to 10 realtors, I'll sign up 2 or 3 realtors as clients or distributors. And it just takes on a life of its own. So now I've got people across the country that you send out cards from one side of the country to the other, and I get paid on everything that they do. So almost every week now, I'm getting money from something that I have no connection to at all. I don't know the distributor. I see him in my back office, but I don't have a real close relationship with them. I may have spoken to them at one time, or may have texted them, but ultimately, this is a business that they do. Like my good friend Brian Perez is in South Carolina, great realtor, good friend of mine, and he's building a send out cards business. He's not building it for me. He's building it for him and his family. And so he sees this business model. He knows that it works. He's got a great network. He's very influential, and he's consistently showing this. And almost every week, I'm getting something that I have no connection to. And that's fun, guys. When you start to get paid for things that you see, the powerful thing about this type of a business, I digress a little bit, but the powerful thing about this is that we get paid for what we start with send out cards. With real estate, we get paid for what we finish, right? When you go through title and the escrow and the home closes, that's when we get paid. But with send out cards, we actually get paid for what we start. And if you start a lot of people, some of them are going to take this more seriously than others, and they're going to build massive businesses for themselves that you get a part of. So it's very powerful. But ultimately, you decide whether you want to be a distributor or not. You don't have to. It doesn't take much to do to be a distributor. Just share this with one person a day, and you'll be surprised. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. The guy that brought me into the business has been doing it for 13 years. He sponsored 450 people, so on average 2 or 3 a month. It's grown to 150,000 distributors and 500,000 clients in 6 countries. And he gets paid more in a month than I get paid in a year by a long shot. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen if you're consistent with it. So with that being said, let's take a look at, do we have any questions in the system? Let me stop my share and see, do we have any questions?
You, Gary, so I can kind of go over a couple of them. Kim asked about the cost of a stamp versus, so the point systems and then the stamp thing.
Yep.
And we usually get this question, so it's pretty common. Stamps and postage are considered an expense. And the easiest way to reason that out is that stamps and postage cannot be discounted by the USPS, but they can discount the cards and some of the products. So those are based on points, so that when you have a subscription, when you spend more, you save more. And then the postage stays the same, so it's considered a fixed expense. We also had one from Carrie asking, how do we get people's addresses? And she said, I overthink things, and guess what? So do we all. It's very simple. You'll be shocked. Basically, what we do is we just ask for them. I typically say, hey, I love sending out cards occasionally, and I noticed that I didn't have your address. Can I get that from you so I can send you a card occasionally? People eat that up. They see that as a great way to build the relationship. They typically don't mind. I've maybe had 1 or 2 people say no, but if that's the case, then their loss. No big deal. Just move on to the next people, and maybe you'll get it from them later on. So those were the questions I've seen so far. Does anyone else have any questions?
So just to clarify a little bit, when you set up your account, you have your subscription at $39 a month, and there's a side fund that's called expense. So your points from the $39 a month, that pays for cards and gifts. Your expense fund will pay for postage. And let's say you wanted to add a Starbucks card to the card for $5, that will come from your expense fund as well. So points pay for cards and gifts, and expense pays for postage and putting money on a gift card. So when you sign up, it's going to ask you, do you want to put $5, $10, $20 in your expense fund? So you choose how much you want to put in it. And then when the system runs out of expense or points, it tells you you're out of points or expense, and then you just go in and add a little bit more.
Yep.
I just think of expense as cash. You know, you pay for postage with cash, you pay for gift cards with cash. People kind of understand that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing asking for addresses. I've never had somebody turn me down. Last year we had a bunch of renovations done in our basement. So we had tile setters, plumbers, drywall guys, all kinds of people like that. And I took pictures while they were working and asked each one of them, where do you live? What's your address? And every single one of them I had a real estate conversation with. Only one guy said, he gave me his address, said, why? I said, I want to send you something. Okay, that's fine. That guy was the drywall guy. He called me practically in tears. He got the card with a couple brownies. And, I think no one thanks people like that. They just, they come into their home, they do the work, they don't even see them, goodbye. But I wanted to thank him for doing a good job. But they all morphed into real estate conversations.
Beautiful. So I'm just answering, I'm stating here on the chat that if I invited you to this webinar, and you want to get started or, reach out to me, or you can go to my website, which is www.sendoutcards.com/go mobile. And Kayla, it would be
www.sendoutcards.com/216581. Gary and I just posted those in the, Gary, you posted them to the panelists. I'll copy them out to the attendees.
Oh, oops.
It's a fun button that they have there. Chip,
yeah.
Same.
And if someone else invited you to this webinar, get back with them and ask them what the website is that they need to go to, because Kayla and I have people that are in our distributor downline that have invited people, and I know a few of them have showed up here. So just reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar to answer any questions, or if you want to get started. And ultimately, we're here to serve you. And whether you want to be a client or a distributor, whether you want to bundle or not, it doesn't matter. We want to just give the options to you and let you decide what's important for you. So if this webinar has resonated with you, I just encourage you to get started. Send out a bunch of cards. You'll start getting feedback within a couple of days of people calling you or texting you or emailing you or Facebook posting that of the card that they received. You'll start to get that positive reinforcement very quickly, and then you'll be surprised that if you really get in and use this, you're going to start seeing people listing homes with you and referring people to you. It's just the most powerful tool that we've ever used. So with that being said, we're a couple minutes over our hour. Thank you all for being on the webinar with us. Thank you so much, Chip, for helping us out. Kayla, as always, thank you so much. And
thanks, guys.
We will be talking with you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.